Welcome to Rauta's Underground Trio. Once again, we have three different bands from three different parts of the world, and technically speaking, two styles, two black metal acts, and one of power rock heavy metal. I would say heavy metal, but well, let's see about that. First, I'll introduce them in alphabetical order, then from worst to best, according to my own opinion. Once again, feel free to disagree. You pick your own favorites. They might not be the same as mine. First, we have Antikvlt, a revelation of Intoxication, and this is a black metal band from Austria. Then a rather peculiar name is, I don't know how to pronounce this properly, but I guess I See No. And then there's a French title I don't even dare to pronounce, a black metal band from Switzerland and France, so international waters. Then finally something else from Europe, Kingsmash, Black Forest Power Rock. This is a heavy metal band from Germany. Now let's put this in order I prefer worst to best, and let's go one by one. First we'll take this debut album, I See No, and it's really a peculiar name because it's technically speaking I See No. I don't know if it's I See No, like I'm not gonna see an ope, or whether it's just some weird artistic take on the name, but it is what it is. I'll get a little bit of hipster vibes. This is my sixth sense putting that into the game with the name and all, but this is a curious case. Self-financed, released by this, or at least I get the impression self-financed. There it was Dr.Gore, whatever. So I don't know if that's a relabel or a label by the band. Anyhow, like I said, this is a peculiar case because, first of all, I was reading about the band, taking the basic notes and years of foundation and all. It seems like this band about, like things like climate change and all, and doing black metal. And there was a couple of other lyrical ideas with like, really? Sounds peculiar to me. Nowadays it seems it's four guys, which started with more or less one guy, is now four guys. It seems like one is doing additional vocals and lyrics, and there's one guy handling most of the instruments except for the drums, and then there's a vocalist. So real four-man band these days, except one guy's taking care of the bass, guitars, what have you. Musically, this is very, very unusual kind of black metal. It's almost like experimental in so many ways, rather untraditional with the riffs and all. And to be honest, sometimes it feels like it's someone who isn't into black metal creating a lot of black metal riffs. Some of these riffs are just, what the fuck I'm listening to level. Some of them are just like, okay, basic mediocrity. Some are more melodic, and some are just outright like, why this is even here. Now, I'm going to say it out loud. I don't want to be overly negative here, but I'm not going to say this. I'm going to say this. I mean, this is not a good album. This is too much an acquired taste. Let's get experimental. Let's get just into the territory where black metal is not sounding really like black metal. Or, to put it otherwise, like I said, a guy who is not listening to black metal wants to do black metal. Or more like, hey, let's reinvent the whole wheel. Let's make this black metal wheel, I don't know, a square. To be honest, lots of these riffs are just outright weird or bad, and then a bunch of riffs which are just pure mediocrity. Not annoying, not good, but somewhere in the middle. Then you have this rather poor production which sounds like done in a rehearsal room, and not very nicely so. So I'm gonna say it in this way. It's not overly bad, but it's definitely more on the less good side of things rather than enjoyable. I went through this whole album like 3 times and I was suffering. I know it's gonna annoy a lot of people when I say things like this, but I mean, sometimes you just kind of have to blurt it out. I was trying to find a lot of nice ideas here and there, but honestly, I really couldn't. It's not like this is totally worthless or horrible album, but it's not just something that I cannot get a hold on and say like, honestly, this is a good stuff. There was some person asking me on Discord, why am I even listening to this? And I'm like, review work. He gave it a listen and couldn't even finish one song without going like, this is just horrible. So, I don't know. Can I really recommend you to check this out unless you want something different? But I hope these guys will figure it out eventually, and maybe then they will create a better album. So far, no go. Too French for me. That's all I can say. Then we have this German band, Kingsmash. Here it says Black Forest Power Rock. Kind of already mentions what they are aiming for, but I would say this is actually closer to just honest, hardworking, yet basic, traditional heavy metal. And that's not a bad thing, you know, actually it's a positive thing. It's nice, kind of nice to have a band that manages to sound 80s without actually sounding overly 80s, meaning the production is very, very much top this day. But then again, big bands already had quite a good production back in the days when, I mean, they were already established. This is a band that already has only this MCD out there and a demo. So very, very early on in their career so far. Few years only, something like 21 when this was founded. And these guys are not, you know, just trying to create something totally new. I think they're more like, hey, let's stick to traditions. We're 4 older guys. We're not youngsters anymore. We want to just play some good heavy metal or rock and roll for that matter. I want to do it in honest ways, drink beers, play shows and all. I mean, I gotta give credit to that kind of a mentality when we're talking about world of extreme metal, where every other band and their aunts are like, hey, we're gonna be the most badass band out there with our lyrics, with our sound, with our production, without just everything. And then their band's like, hey, we want to just play rock and roll the old-fashioned way. You like it or not, we don't care. We just play heavy metal. Glad if you do, too bad if you don't. So these guys have done this about 20 minutes of an MCD, which kind of has this nice energetic thing going on. While the songwriting isn't exactly standing out, there's something really, really honest. Hardworking citizens doing just heavy metal, rock and roll, and all that stuff. And I gotta say, this is actually quite promising. While this is not totally good, I mean, it's still, you know, pushing all the right buttons. They just need even more of those killer parts and all, and this would be the next, if not German sensation, at least something worthwhile listening to. So, promising band all in all. And this takes us to the best of the pile here, Antikvlt. I mean, this is a horrible name for a band. It sounds like, are you joking? Come on, you could just create way better names, but, you know, I don't know. This is bad name. I'm gonna just say it out loud. 2 guys. Mostly done, created by this one man, except everything else except drums, who is here, I'm guessing. And this is kind of a less extreme black metal. I mean, black metal is basically extreme by its very definition, default setting. But this is more about like, let's not go full speed, let's not do overly raw, while not doing atmospheric black metal. So I would say low threshold black metal, meaning easier to approach, easier to just kind of dive into this possibly new genre for you. Now, this main man is already known for other bands as well as the other guy, the drummer too. And this main guy's most known band is a band called Anomaly, which is post-black metal. So I guess this is more like, let's go more into the traditions with this album or this band, which at this point anyway seems like a side project. Now, be it as it may, side project or just another band where you rotate the focus from main band to the other band and so forth. This first album is pretty solid. I like the production, for instance. I mean, it's just giving, you know, enough edge without go really, you know, overly edge. And the songwriting is actually pretty nice. There's nothing fundamentally different and nothing actually creating new waves. Nothing is being reinvented here. More like, let's go into the world of mid-tempo black metal mostly, which some modern, you know, glimpses maybe a little bit hint towards the post-black metal, but definitely more into the world of traditional second wave black metal legacy, just nowadays style. And when I say this is low threshold, meaning this is way easier to approach than a lot of those bands which are so much raw, so much more violent, or just, you know, overly aggressive with the tempos and all. This is more like, okay, I get it. 2 raw black metal vocals are gonna put you like I cannot handle it. And sometimes too fast tempo black metal is like just too much energy and too powerful, too much impact. So you want something lighter, almost like you know, some easier drink beer with less alcohol and all. And this is what Antikvlt is. And I don't mean this as a negative criticism. I'm just saying this is way easier to approach than picking up the, say, golden era of Darkthrone, where things are so much rawer, or go for Panzer Division Marduk kind of a violence, or Funeral Mist, or whatever, not to mention bands like Mutilation or Deathspell Omega. So when you think those bands are just too much when you're entering the world of black metal, you want to kind of go with easy, but you don't want to go into the world of Behemoth and all. That's where Antikvlt steps into the game and, well, delivers quite nice of a debut album. I still think this could be a lot more memorable in overall songwriting, chorus parts, individual riffs and all. But other than that, this is actually a pretty good of an album, so easily the best of the pile this time. Like said, as always, the links are provided to each and every band in the description box, so you can start listening to them or finding just more information. And of course, if you feel like I'm totally wrong with my opinions, I mean, there is no wrong or right on opinions, just a bunch of different opinions. But be it as it may, if you disagree with me, it's fine. If you agree with me, it's either fine. Just listen to the music. You think it's worth your time, and I hope you like it. And if you don't, well, too bad. Next time, Jose. See ya.